Well, it's the middle of February. In fact, we're just beyond that point. It's the 16th of February, 2015. Hello, good morning. This is Wayne Goldsboro Television. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best. Good Monday morning. I hope you all had a great weekend. It
Wow.
was cold.
It was cold, but it was nice.
Yeah.
You know, one day, last Thursday or Wednesday, Tuesday it was. Last Tuesday we had some rain, and wow, it was cold.
Cold rain.
And wind and rain.
Yes.
It was a typical February day.
Yes, it was.
I'm spoiled with some of the weather we've been having here
Well,
lately.
we never know. We never know if it's a 65-degree day or if it's a 25-degree day.
That's true. You just don't know. And the thing is that one could come behind the other.
Yes, always have your parka and your shorts because you don't know which you'll be wearing.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, let's see. Do we have today? Who's on today's program?
Yes.
Who's on today's program, Wayne?
Well, on today's program, Wayne,
Yes.
is Goldsboro City Manager Scott Stevens.
Oh,
He's
good.
given his monthly update.
Good.
He does that to share projects that are happening, just giving updates on anything city related. Scott does that once a month, so we'll be seeing that today.
Very good. He does a good job of that, too. Okay, let's see what all we have here. There's a lot of things going on around the Wayne County area.
There is. Well, tonight we actually have a city council meeting.
Oh, is
at
that-
5 o'clock is the work session, and then at 7 o'clock is the regular scheduled meeting over in council chambers. So a 5 o'clock and a 7 o'clock meeting, all is invited.
Okay, well, that means tomorrow morning, in fact, the Wayne County Commissioners will be meeting at 8 o'clock with the briefing, and then at 9 o'clock with the regular meeting on the 4th floor in council chambers, the Wayne County Courthouse.
That's right. Both of these are filmed, and they'll be right here on Channel 10 as well as YouTube.
And we'd like for you to be there if you can. I mean, and if you can, as Kim said, they are online
That's exactly right.
at the county site would be waynegov.com, and there's a YouTube link at that site.
And the city site is goldsboronc.gov. That's our website. Click right on YouTube, and it'll take you to WGTV Today playlist, and all of our shows will be right there.
And there you go. The Arts Council of Wayne County, that's artsinwayne.org, continuing their painting with Penny Craven. Now, actually, I say continue, but it doesn't start until March 5th. But it'll be March 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. This is for ages 4 to 6 and 7 to 9. Now, you can go to artsinwayne.org and get the times these programs begin. Older youngsters, older students, I should say, ages 5 to 14, March 2nd, 9th, and 16th. Anyway, the cost is $55. All supplies will be included in that $55. You can call 736-3300 to get more information about that. 736-3300.
There you go. We talked last week a little bit about the Down East Open. The Down East Open, is that golf tournament that Goldsboro Municipal Golf Course is a part of. It's a 3-day tournament. Let's see what the dates are. The 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
Okay.
And each day, Wayne, if you're registered to be a part of this, you'll play at 3 different municipal courses in different cities.
That's great.
And one is, of course, here at Goldsboro Municipal Golf Course, and one is in Greenville at their municipal golf course, and then there's another golf course, of course, as well, that I have not figured out where it is. But it's pretty interesting that they're all in different cities who play each day at a completely different course.
Yeah.
And that's pretty neat.
That is neat.
Pretty
I
neat.
like that. That's a great idea.
Different cities working together. And you can find out more about that by giving Goldsboro Parks and Recreation a call. Let's see if I can remember that number. 739
That's good.
7480.
Sure.
Sounds great.
Why not? Maybe
Down
it is.
East Open.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
it.
March 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
And maybe it isn't. But it's okay. If it's the wrong number, you'll know.
Oh, that's good advice. That is great advice.
I think you're right, though.
But I can't see them.
I can't find it. I know it's on here. Okay. Well, anyway, call that number anyway.
Too small to find.
Okay.
What else you got?
Oh, well, let's see. Well, what else do we have here? We have the Literacy Connection.
Yes.
What a great job they're doing. And not only literacy as far as reading is concerned, but also in math and computers and just a ton of other stuff. The Literacy Connection is at 2101 East Ash Street in the former Nash Printing Company building. And you're invited to go over there and just talk to them, find out what it's all about.
That's right.
And the phone number is...
We hope on there somewhere.
What was that number you gave out? I'll use that one. The phone number is 2101 East Ash Street, and they're online. And I don't have that address, but I think it's literacyconnectionswaynecounty.org. Literacyconnectionwaynecounty.org. Try that.
I hope all this great helpful information has been a big help to you this morning.
It's been a lot of work.
Let's go to the interviews.
Hello, I'm Scott Stevens, Goldsboro City Manager, here for our February monthly update. It's hard to believe we're already a month through the new year, so it's definitely winter here in Goldsboro. We haven't had much in the way of frozen precipitation, which is good from my standpoint in trying to keep the roads and the community open and moving. Some will miss that, and at this point snow is not in our forecast, so I'm sort of hoping we'll make it through February without white stuff here, but for those that are wishing, I wish you well, so whichever way that goes. A couple things going on in the community I'd like to share. We did share an update with our city council on the status of our F-86 aircraft. We used to sit in front of the police department. We have moved it during the night to Seymour Johnson, where they are refurbishing it for us and putting it back into good condition. And they're doing that really at no cost to us other than material costs. So we thank them for that. They are working. I expect their work on the aircraft will be done some in March, April timeframe, and we're trying to arrange a time to bring it back downtown, hopefully early morning one day, so 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you'd like to see it come back down Ash Street, you can participate in that. Likely May time frame for that, and then we'll eventually put it on a pole behind the wings, Seymour Johnson Air Force wings, at this circle at Ashland Center. So again, more to come on that, but that aircraft is still moving along, and restoration will be back soon. Our downtown projects, our Center Street project, which T11 has been working on, is all of our downtown projects are on schedule or a little bit ahead of schedule, which means they should be completed this fall. But our Center Street project, TA11 is working to finish. They've been working over in the southbound lanes of Center Street. They are putting in curb and gutter, the brick pavers, working very hard to get that side of the street open to traffic, and then they'll move to the other side of the northbound sections and start working on that side. And then again, we hope that conversion will occur in early March, where you'll be driving on the new section and be able to see the layout of the curb and gutter and the bricks and open the sidewalks, and hopefully our businesses on that side will see some relief from the construction, and would encourage you to come and support them and see what's going on in our downtown. Our other two projects that Daniels & Daniels is working on, one, our transfer center. If you haven't ridden by that, next to Union Station, the walls are formed, the roof is on. You can see where the buses would come and go into that. Still a lot of underground work, so there's still a lot of earth being moved around, but good progress being made on that project as well. And then Daniels & Daniels is working on our Walnut Street streetscape improvements, and the major work there you can see is they've been leveling the granite curb, and so that has occurred back on Georgia Avenue as well as Walnut Street, and then they're laying brick pavers this week or last several weeks along Walnut Street, and so really looking good out there and moving those projects along. So pretty exciting time downtown in terms of those projects, and then the private activity that's going on outside of that. We've talked for a couple months now, or off and on, about our conversion to fully automated garbage and recycling trucks. For many of you, you may not notice a change, but for what it really means for the city is less people, new equipment in terms of the vehicles that we service your garbage cans at your house with. You'll roll your container out to the street. We'll give you some instruction on sort of how it needs to be positioned, because tree limbs and overhead lines and parked vehicles and mailboxes matter a little bit, but it's a reasonable thing to work within. And we'll have a lot more time to educate you on that in terms of, I hope, articles in our paper, certainly utility bills, inserts, and then communications with our customers as we move through that. But I expect that we are delivering those trucks this week. They're coming into the community. You'll start seeing them on our street. Not a whole lot for you to do differently now. As we're letting our employees get used to these trucks. But they're not new. They've been, well, the trucks are new for Goldsboro, but they're not new in the industry. They've been around for probably 15 or 20 years. And so we're not the cutting edge of technology. It's worked in many communities outside of ours. They tell us there's a slight learning curve as we go into that. But in a month or two, once we start the process, I think most people will be very pleased with what they see. And it will convert from a semi-automated truck that takes a crew of 3 to run to a fully automated truck which takes 1 person to run, and that 1 person then doesn't have to be out in the hot or cold, doesn't have to be out when it's icy or snowy. It takes our employees and puts them at a lot less risky situations, because they're not out between the truck and the drivers or with trips and falls or people accidentally running into them. So should be a good move for our employees and a good move for the customer. And in the end, the payment on these trucks in buying them, and we replace vehicles from time to time anyway, but the savings in personnel costs more than pays for the trucks over the life of the truck. So they're a good value to you as the consumer who's paying for that. And for the employees that we've had, we have been planning for this for over a year, and as we've had retirements or people promoted or people that have moved on, we have hired temporary employees who knew they were coming on a temporary basis, so that when we make this conversion and we lose the 9 or so employees that we had talked about in the beginning, there's nobody that's been here for a long length of time or is a permanent employee that's lost. And that was a commitment we made to our employees early on in that process, and we seem to be able to live up to that. Some question about those that are unable to roll their carts to the street. Will we continue to pick up and service their containers? And the answer is yes. We do have a process we will renew on some type of basis, not more than annually, but from time to time, that will just reevaluate your current situation and see that you still have that need for us to come and service your cart. But if you're unable to service the cart, we'll do that with our standard semi-automated trucks, and we'll send employees out just like we've always done to pull the cart from behind your house if needed and push it back for those that are unable to do it themselves. So more to come on that, but as you have questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to call our Public Works Department or to call my office, and we'll make sure to get your questions answered for you in regards to garbage service. Again, for most customers, I'm not sure you'll notice the difference. We will do a lot of communication, and there'll be some time to work through learning how the process works before there's any real issues with your garbage service. So we look forward to more discussion on that and implementing that project. A minor project in terms of discussion that our council had over the last 2 council meetings concerned expansion at our water treatment plant and an expansion through equipment, not actual more construction of concrete structures. And water plant construction is usually very expensive. This is a plate settler project. Again, the permitting of it is a couple $100,000 to design and permit it. It's almost a $2 million project once we're done to expand the water plant. And again, the expansion is through equipment, and it'll move us from a facility that generates 12 million gallons a day of drinking water to a facility that will generate 14 million gallons a day, or will be capable of. And again, a 2 million gallon a day increase under the current rules and regulations. So getting it permitted and able to construct is important, because the rules could change as we go forward. And again, we're getting in that for about 20% of the cost of building new concrete and construction. So we're getting that additional 2 million gallons per day at a very good value to the community, and will provide for future growth as we increase our water demands in the Goldsboro area. So again, that is a project that won't get as much attention as many because it's not visible to most, but our council did award that work, and again, it'll be a year or so before they would get, I guess, the bid side of moving that project forward. Something that will be a little more visible to the community, and we've been talking about sewer rehab or rehabilitation work of lining manholes or replacing manholes, or the same with sewer pipes or lining sewer pipes. For the past several years, we finally have moved on to the point we've done enough studying, we know where the most significant problems are, and so we awarded a contract for $375,000 to renovate or rehabilitate a number of manholes, and it's many manholes throughout the community in various locations, and many will be old brick manholes, or there'll be concrete manholes that we have identified that have a lot of water coming into them, groundwater that is coming in that doesn't need to go to the treatment plant, that because of the holes in the manholes themselves, it is making it to our wastewater facility. And so we will line them to seal those leaks and prevent that water from entering our sewer collection system, and thus reducing our treatment plant costs and concerns that we have there. So that project is out. It does reline a number of pipes throughout the community. Not a lot for $375,000, but that work will be visible as you'll have trucks working on various streets throughout the community in the coming months. So more to come on our sewer rehab work. We have a lot more in the pipeline in terms of design and work that needs to be done, but it's a good start in terms of addressing some of our what we call inflow and infiltration, that unwanted water in our sewer collection system. Had a lot of conversation on a downtown low to moderate income housing project in January. Ultimately, the City Council, we were working with a developer out of Raleigh who's been in this business for probably 40 or 50 years. It's a nonprofit company called DHIC. They do very nice, well-managed, generally apartment complexes, not always, but in this case what they were talking about in Goldsboro were 64 units for low to moderate income people, and that would be somebody that makes $25,000 or $30,000 a year could live in these places. And our intent for downtown was to have what would be very nice construction, very well managed, and then bring people and provide a place for people to live. And a lot of concern with that, and I think folks get concerned not having all the information, and we didn't have time. What was pressing our deadline or time on that project was a state deadline with the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, and just due to the amount of information that we needed to maybe share with the community to make many of those members that were concerned about the project feel better about it or more understanding of it. The council decided not to sell the property at Chestnut and Center. Not to say we wouldn't reconsider something in the future, but we wanted to have a lot more community discussion, and DHIC representatives agreed to come back if we would like them to and talk with community members. And so I think you'll see more of that in the coming months. Might be 3 or 4 months. There's not any real rush to do that. But from a staff side, our intent for downtown is not to do anything we see as harmful or bad to the community. And so certainly for those that will wonder what in the world were they thinking, we believed it was a good company and a good fit. It's not to say something else couldn't develop there and be better, but it would be something that would invest $2 to $3 million and build a facility I think as you ride by you'd be very proud of, and then wouldn't create an issue within our community. So more to come on that. I just didn't want anyone to think I was just ignoring that. As much discussion has occurred in January, I felt it prudent to share it and to just remind folks that our council did hear concerns from citizens, and they did listen. They deferred action on that project and didn't agree to sell at this point to the company to do low to moderate income housing on that site. We've also had a lot of discussion, I guess, over the last 5 or 6 weeks in our local news media about our police department. And you know, I've at least taken an opportunity to try to tell some of our side of the story. And you know, for me, if I were an outsider and reading articles and editorials over these past 5 or 6 weeks, I think you could be led to believe that our police department is not performing well, that our chief is ignoring problems within the community, morale is terrible within the department, and officers are afraid to come to work. And you know, I've said publicly that I support our chief and our department, and I don't believe that our officers are afraid to come to work. I think they're more cautious because they're in a profession that requires them to be cautious, and all the attention at the national level in response to police incidents across the country, I think police officers have to be more alert these days when other folks out there are now assassinating police officers, and that's occurred in a number of communities. And again, so while I don't think our officers are afraid to come to work, I do believe they're more cautious and more aware than maybe they normally would be. And I think they're always aware on their job, but I think this time has them a little beyond that. I did get into a discussion based on an article ran that had anonymous sources from our police department and employees that were sharing their concerns with our local news media. And I wanted to get in front of all of our employees, which the chief and I did about a week ago, January 22nd, 23rd time frame. And we met with all the employees within the police department, police officers and the civilian staff. And really the message from me to them was to thank them for what they do for us and working for the community, and to let them know the mayor, city council, the chief and I do support their efforts and appreciate what they do. And also to really provide an opportunity to open the dialogue. I work on that consistently with city employees and trying to be at events where we can get to know one another. So if they have concerns, they feel comfortable coming to me. But at least to make sure they had an opportunity to ask questions to me if they had them that day, or encourage them to ask questions or have suggestions or other things as we go forward in time. And you know, one of my comments of anonymous reports, and again, the only thing that makes me question the motives of those officers who are talking with our local media is if they truly had the community's best interest at heart and they had real concerns that they felt like the chief and I could address or maybe don't know about, that while I would like them to come to me in person, if they feel like they can't do that, I encouraged all or any employee to send me an anonymous letter. I won't give it quite as much credibility, because somebody that will say, hey, this is who I am and this is why I'm saying that, it certainly is a more credible source than an anonymous source. But if you're going to be anonymous to our local news media, at least give me that opportunity to try to address your concerns as well. And so that was really my message, not to beat up on any employees, not to try to seek out who it is. We're not investigating to find out who's telling on us. If there are issues to tell, that's certainly fine. It's really trying to make sure that they know that they can approach me, that I do take their concerns and their thoughts seriously. It's not to say we can implement everything that's suggested by our employees, but we do listen. All of our department heads, so myself, are willing to do that, and certainly the chief and I. And so that was my message to our employees. And I really wanted to say, since I'm publicly saying that I don't think they're afraid to come to work and all these other things, that if that's incorrect, I really encourage them to tell me, because I don't want to say things that I think are incorrect. And to this point, a couple weeks after those meetings, I've not had any negative response from those meetings from our department. And again, my intent wasn't to be negative to them. It was to thank them, to encourage them to come to me with concerns. Most of them have shared with me that what they've seen in the paper they don't agree with. but that's not to say that some don't. So I just want to reinforce to the community that I think our department is functioning well. There is crime within our community. We're very concerned about that. We do work hard to reduce the crime rate. We do proactive things. We are trying to get there. We do know there's some issues out there. When anybody's hurting anyone, there's an issue, and that's been always a history in most communities of somebody doing things, and that's why we need our police officers and our police department. And again, from where I sit today, I am not concerned about how our department's functioning. Can it work better? Sure. We can always be a little more efficient. We can always work to improve our image, and we're doing those things as well within all our departments, but in particular within our police department. So for any of you that have suggestions or information or things you'd like us to consider, please don't hesitate to contact the chief or I. We're happy to listen. Again, we do that a lot, and we're always working to improve where we are. A couple other items. Mayor and council last fall, I guess, asked for some information on poverty in our community, and in particular hungry children. And I think they were pretty surprised to hear that I think it's 1 in 4 children in our community are likely suffering from some form of food hunger, of not having enough food to eat, which creates all sorts of issues, whether it's in the classroom or behavioral problems in or outside of school, or stealing or anything else. You know, if someone's hungry, that sort of drives you to a different place that many of us can't appreciate. And so they had asked our staff to look to see what resources were in the community, to see what we could do better. And our assistant manager, Angel Wright Lanier, Leteri Ward, and Shacole Carter Simpson and Community Affairs have been working through a lot of information and had a number of meetings with the mayor and a few council members trying to work through this of how the city might help overcome some of that. And we do have an RFP out now looking for a food service provider, really to try a pilot project beginning in March and running through June. And then when school gets out, there are summer programs out there to see what the demand would be if we set up a site at Dillard Middle School and then Herman Park Center in terms of feeding locations for kids in our community. And I hope we have that underway in March. Again, that's the goal, is to be feeding kids through the weekends in March so that they're not hungry when they're away from school on Saturday and Sunday, and sort of gauge are those good locations for that kind of program. But it is sad in our community. It's hard to believe in Goldsboro and Wayne County that we have kids that go to bed hungry, and we really need to work as a community to make that better. And so the city and our staff and a number of our elected officials are working hard to see if we can make a difference in that. Not to say there are not a lot of groups there, there just seems to be still a need there. We also have a modification to our animal control ordinance that was discussed with City Council this week. Really the purpose there, we allow backyard chicken coops with up to 6 hens. There was a request from someone that has 10 hens. Would we increase that number from 6 to 10? So the council, at least at their work session, seemed to be willing to do that, and they would take action on that later in February if they really agree with that approval. But they seem to indicate they would be willing to do that, and so that's what we're talking about with our animal control ordinance, if you hear reference to that. Lots of activities within the community. We would always send you to our Facebook page or our websites to look for current activities. A couple things just a little different for us. Our Parks and Rec department has sponsored and is running 2 ski day trips, so 2 different dates where you go up early in the morning, come back late at night, and you go up and ski for the day, and then you have a bus ride back. And so if you're interested in that, they occur in February, and we'd encourage you to be part of that. It's certainly a different kind of event, but would be a long day, but probably a pretty enjoyable day for those that want to take their chance at skiing. And then downtown, even with all the construction activity and sort of the nuisance that creates, a lot of things seem to be doing very well. Our Paramount Theater has had 5 or 6 events that have sold out in the past January timeframe, so the past 5 weeks or so. I think that speaks very well to the city's foresight in working to have that theater reconstructed and operated. Again, a lot of different variety there, and I want to say thanks to all those who are partners at the theater in terms of the performers and the financial supporters, and then our staff that runs it on a daily basis. But a lot of good sellouts over the last few weeks. And again, our Majesty Rose is here February 12th. I think it'll be hard to get a ticket, but good luck. I'm told that is sold out as well. So if you're fortunate enough to have a ticket to that, I hope you enjoy that show. We have some other new construction that's going on downtown outside of what the city's doing. JoJo's on Mulberry is expanding, and I'm not going to have a list that will get to everything, but she's basically doubling her space and her hours, and again, so I'm excited about that for her and for the community. Old Town Antiques moved into the first block. Construction's going on over as you travel south on the right side, so just past Goldsboro Used Furniture, so I'd encourage you to check that out today or tomorrow or when the street opens on that side, whatever works best for you. Ed's Seafood seems to do in that same block is opened last fall, seems to be doing very well. The owner's very excited, and all the reviews I've heard have been very, very good. And then Center Street Bazaar opened, I guess, maybe several months ago now, but I happened to wander through that in the last few weeks, and a lot of good crafts in there. They tell me the traffic through has been very good for them as well, and so I think that speaks well for a lot of the activity that's going on in our downtown. And again, we appreciate our downtown businesses that are having to endure the construction and their patience through that, but for those that have been impacted the last 4 or 5 months, that's about to get better on your side. And unfortunately, we'll move to the other side, but you can see, that, or at least I hope you'll see, that what we're changing it to will be much better as we go forward into the future. And so thank you for your patience with that. As always, we're here to serve, so if you need us, please don't hesitate to call on us, email, whatever works best for you. We're happy to try to respond and answer your questions and listen to your comments or concerns. So again, thank you for listening.
All right, we're back, and that was Scott Stevens, the city manager for Goldsboro.
That's exactly right. He does a great job every
Yeah.
month giving updates. And it's pretty nice having the updates come directly from him,
Yeah.
talking to the community, hearing detail for detail what's happening. He gives a little more insight to each of the projects.
How is speaking of projects, how's the
Streetscape?
streetscape coming along? He had mentioned that.
It's really moving along. You know, there's 2 different projects. And the one project, which is the Gateway Transfer Center
Exciting.
project, yes, and
Very
that will be
exciting.
complete on the 1st of August of this year.
Really?
Whoa. It'll be
How about
complete,
that?
and the Gateway, of course, the existing Gateway will move over here. They'll have a brand new functioning building that will be really state of the art.
That is very exciting.
Yes, absolutely.
And I see those guys working. They're down at the old train station.
Yes, right
And
beside it.
I see them working on Walnut Street, West Walnut Street down there. And
Yeah, they're doing
that
curb
area.
and gutter and all that, all up and down Walnut Street, connecting the Union Station, Gateway Transfer Center back to Center Street.
Yeah.
So that project will be done August of 2015. And then, of course, right here on Center Street itself, the project will be complete in November of this year. First to the middle of March, they're going to move from the side of Center Street that they're working on presently to the other side. They'll open up the current side, and they'll start working on the opposite side.
Whoa.
So traffic will change. If you've been out recently, you've seen where they have lowered and put in the new vault that holds all the mechanics for the water fountain that'll go in the middle of the intersection between Walnut and Center.
Yeah.
That was really interesting to see that vault being lowered down in there, and now they've got the big barrels, the orange and white barrels, plastic barrels that are sort of barricading around that mechanical vault, so you can actually, it's almost like a roundabout is being formed right there.
Right.
Which is exactly what will be there.
And I was looking just the other day, I was walking around there, and I was watching that brickwork that they're putting
Yes,
down on
isn't
the
that
side.
going to be nice?
Gorgeous, just gorgeous.
16 feet wide those sidewalks will be.
Wow.
And that's for various things like, so restaurants can have outdoor eating, so businesses can put outdoor sale items and those type things to make it much more pedestrian friendly.
That is a great idea, and if you have 16 feet, it's perfect.
Yes, it is.
There you go. Birthdays today, a fellow by the name of Barry Primus. He was in American Hustler, he was in New York, and a bunch of other movies. He's 77 today. Troy Evans was a guy that played, he was in ER on TV. He played Frank Martin. He was also Detective Johnson on Bosch. He's 67. What is Bosch?
Don't know.
Okay, it's a TV show.
Never seen it.
It's on now.
Okay.
All right, William Catt, do you know who that is?
Nope.
The great American hero, greatest American hero on TV some years ago?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
He was also Paul Drake Jr. in the reprise of the Perry Mason series.
Okay. Yes.
Some years ago. His mother is Barbara Hale,
Oh, wow.
who was Della Street on television.
Yes.
His father's the guy that played Kit Carson some years ago, one of my heroes on TV, by the name of Bill Williams. All right, but anyway, William Catt's having a birthday. He's 64, hard to believe. Hunt Block is Ben on Guiding Light. He was Guy on All My Children. He was Craig on As the World Turns.
He's been around.
He'd been around.
Several
All those,
soaps.
yeah, 60 today. LeVar Burton's 58. Lisa Loring, the actress, played Wednesday on The Addams Family. Little girl, Wednesday. She is 57 years today.
Wow,
Sarah
she's grown
Clark.
up.
She is all grown up. Sarah Clark has been on Nikita, Covert Affairs, Tomorrow People, and Bosch. She's 43 today. Don Jeffcoat was Michael on Seventh Heaven.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. He was Reverend Buchanan on One Life to Live. He's 40. Paul Britton was Tevin on Trophy Wife. Elizabeth Olsen was Elizabeth. She is the younger sister of the twins Mary Kate and Ashley.
Okay.
She's 26 years today. And those
My
are the
goodness.
birthdays for today.
Well, happy birthday for your special day.
Yeah.
I know my son's got a big birthday coming up on Wednesday.
Really?
He sure does.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Big
Wednesday.
2-1.
No. Elliot is 2-1?
Yes, yes. A happy birthday on Wednesday, Elliot.
I remember when he was like 20. That's like yesterday.
Yes, it is.
Son of a gun. They
My,
grow
how
up-
time flies.
They grow up so fast. Yes.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Well, Goldsboro Parks and Rec asked me to share that through March the 3rd, you can sign up or have your youth sign up for youth soccer, ages 4 to 12. $30 per player. That includes a uniform. Give them a call if you want to sign up for that, or youth baseball and t-ball. All happening right now through March 3rd. Registration at Goldsboro Parks and Recreation.
Wow. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, that's it. We got to go. So we'll be back in here tomorrow where we are, and we hope you're where you are right now, and everybody's where they're supposed to be. How's that? That works. This is Wayne Goldsboro Television. Until tomorrow, I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best, and this is what's happening in your community.